Morning. It is Friday, April the 3rd, and we're going to try and do a live video of a terror bird kick flipping a skateboard. Alright, so first things first, we are going to sketch out our parameters of where we're going to be able to kind of draw. It's going to be interesting doing this. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the head of the terror bird. And the terror bird, if you guys don't know what a terror bird, they were the dominant predators on Earth for a long time. And they hunted the ancestors of the horses and anything that moved, basically. They were huge creatures. And so we're just going to quickly kind of sketch out. And what you're going to draw is you're going to draw a circle here for the cranium. They had huge, scary heads. They're basically like a Tyrannosaurus Rex in a lot of senses in their world, okay? So we're going to draw kind of a 3/4 view of the bird. They had these gigantic, heavy beaks that could eat a lot of different things. So we're going to draw kind of a cartoon version of a terror bird. So I did a circle. I drew the beak out this way. Nostrils are going to go up here. And the beak is kind of a, I don't know, it's a triangular shape. Imagine, if you will, yourself shrunk down to the size of a small rodent. And then now you're faced with kind of a giant chicken chasing you around, flightless chicken, but with a huge bone-crushing beak and an appetite for meat. That's basically what a terror bird is. It's a nightmare scenario for anything smaller than it. So this is the head of our terror bird that's going to be doing a kickflip. They had these very large heads, very muscular necks, and we don't really know like what they look like when it came to like their feathers and things like that. But there are a ton of renderings out there. But you can imagine the scale of these beasts, because we do have in museums skeletons, full intact skeletons of these creatures. So what we're going to do is just kind of, this is going to be its body, and it's kind of contorting. And because I want to show its tiny, insignificant wings as it's doing this kickflip. And so we're going to try and do like a pear shape here to show its body in foreshortening. Okay. And I honestly had no idea what I was going to draw today. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to draw, but I had this vision of terror birds that I've always been fascinated with, you know, animals that used to live but don't anymore, you know. So we're going to kind of show, again, the foreshortened version of this guy coming towards us, right? Hi guys, good morning Lexi, good morning Trinity. And we're going to give it kind of some feathers on the top, so kind of make a potato shape here in a lot of senses. Okay. And we're going to show its claws here. Its claws here. Legs coming out. All right. Claws. No. So you're just going to make these kind of interesting shapes here, like little nubbins right here to represent the upper thigh. All right, and then little paddles here on the bottom to represent the top of the foot, okay? We're gonna splay these out a little bit. And then we're gonna kind of cup these like the bird's pushing the board kind of thing. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna draw the board down here. Just a cool concave on both ends here. Just like so. Clean that edge up a little bit. Then we're also gonna put some wheels. Right there. Show that ellipse. Okay. All right, so now we have kind of the basis of what we're gonna do. I'm gonna actually kick this leg out a little bit further, give it a little bit more dynamic of a look. Okay, yeah, that looks better. I like that. All right. We're gonna give him some little cutesy wings here. Yeah, like that. So again, head, kind of making a triangular shape here, a potato body, two little nubbins here on the end to represent kind of like his upper thigh area. Okay. We're gonna kind of curve this and show his tail this way. So it's a little bit more dynamic. And of course, these were gigantic flightless birds. Hey, Sam. Hi, Hannah. Eatson. Hi. Gigantic flightless birds who hunted the plains in North America, South America, were very proficient killers, frightening animals. If you ever look up terror birds, I don't know how to necessarily pronounce their scientific name, unfortunately. All right. So and he's pretty happy because he's executing a good kickflip here. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. Actually, I might just close this off here and then really kind of show like the neck more and foreshorten. Okay. Yeah, that's better. All right. All right. Now, let's do a couple things here. Let's go through and kind of shade the areas around here so we can kind of get this guy done. On the top. So today is Friday. Yesterday we had some interesting I had some interesting issues with internet. Today I did a test, and unfortunately it looked like my internet was bad, but it wasn't. It was that my Wi-Fi was off. So I don't know. But yesterday my Wi-Fi was on and I was getting kicked off repeatedly from Instagram Live. So I don't know. Playing it by ear today. I still have to upload the scattered video that I created yesterday and see what I can do there. So what I'm doing now is just going through and kind of cleaning things up, refining my lines, because I did a lot of searching lines to kind of describe what was going on. All right. So I'm cleaning this stuff up, getting rid of searching lines that help describe a lot of the space here. Okay. I'm going to be using directional lines that really kind of describe the volume of this bird. Right? And these lines here are going to be kind of describing kind of like the bands that you find on the legs of all kind of bipedal birds. Okay, we're going to put little nubs on the end here of each foot to give it some architecture here. Knuckles, etc. Okay. And then also their claws. All right. They would mostly, when they're hunted, they'd mostly use their beaks as the main tool for capturing their prey. But again, these were important for being able to find traction as they're chasing other animals that were, trying to get away from them, running for their lives, basically. All right. Okay. All right. Got a good thing going here. Oh yeah, we want to show some of the concave here. That happens. All right. So now we're going to go up here to the beak and the face of our terror bird and kind of give it some dimensionality here to its beak. Give it some expression here too as well. Got a shade. Our light source is going to be coming from the right. I want to give it some feathers on the top of its head, kind of like that of a secretariat bird or secretary bird in Africa. They have these really cool, longer, kind of distinctive white feathers on the top. And some artist renderings of terror birds have given secretary birds or given terror birds, secretary birds kind of detail, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, it's not based on any kind of fact, but it gives it kind of a reference to something that's actually alive today. Secretary birds are birds that are found in Africa that hunt and use their beaks as well as their claws. They use their claws actually to kill snakes. They are active predators of snakes. You know, before I decided to become an artist and an art teacher, I was really considering going into marine biology. Always fascinated me as a kid. I was one of those nerdy kids who dragged around books, wildlife books, all the time. You know, and I could name every big cat. I could name every animal in the Serengeti and Africa. I knew all the names of the big cats. I was kind of a nerd. And so, you know, as a child, you hold on to that information because your mind's a sponge. And so I still remember watching Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom and being fascinated by these birds that would actively hunt snakes and take on really dangerous prey. So right now I'm just building up value here. Give it some depth here. If that makes any sense, yeah? Short tails. Not much going on there. Adding value and shadow to these areas on the leg. Okay. Clean this up a little bit. Yeah. Give it some energy here. Start going in and adding some distinctive feathers. I'm going to take some of these away. Yeah, there we go. And so when you're building feathers, what I like to do is I'll do the outer edge first with the bigger feathers. Pull those in, and then I'll layer feathers over the other ones on the top. See that? And stagger it so that they're not even, so that, you know, it's like laying brickwork in a lot of senses. So, again over here, longer feathers here. And then Load those bad boys in there. And then I'll layer it. I'll pull these and I'll overlap them so that they're not perfect. All right. And then I'll run a seam down. Like so. Boom. Hope you guys are all having a good Friday. Staying out of trouble. Keeping safe. I find it hard to right now specifically staying indoors because you get bored. Okay, so I'm gonna darken all this stuff over here. Clean up my edge. Darken all this stuff. And I'm going to harden some of these and add more pressure as I'm going through and kind of finalizing some of the lines over here. Okay. Same thing over here. And over here. And I'm going to darken these values. Okay, so as I'm doing this, I'm always checking my values and making sure that, I want everything kind of balanced out and cleaned up as I'm going through my final pass with certain lines. I'm leaving certain things still active, like with these certain lines down here, as well as on the skateboard, some up here on the head. I'm doing this and I'm kind of moving around the drawing and the composition here and stepping back as I'm doing this. That's really important, is reevaluating, taking a break, stepping back, looking at what you're doing. And some of these searching lines I'm not going to get rid of. I'll just incorporate them into the marks that I'm making and the shading that I'm doing. Oh, Elizabeth. So that I want those distinctive marks to stay. I want them to be there on the page because they're bringing some energy to the drawing. Hey Lucy. And again, because our light source is coming from the right, we want to keep some highlights on the beak. We want to keep highlights on the top of the head. We're going to go through now and just kind of finalize some of these little quill feathers that are at the top of the head. Again, making it look like a secretary bird from Africa. I'm putting darker marks further away from the light source. And keeping the highlights by not adding any value. Okay? Yeah, there we go. Clean that up a little bit. Pull some darker values beneath it to give it a highlight. Harder lines on the bottom. Okay. Beautiful. I'm digging it. I had really no idea what I was going to draw today, so this one was just pulled out of nowhere. There we go. We're going to keep this kind of center line here. A lot of sense. So we'll put some values right here. It's almost like a mohawk, right? Yeah, it's fun. We're going to put some values here, showing the underside of the neck. Going to have these rotate, these values. And we want to, keep those marks so that it shows also the texture of this boy's feathers. Or girl. Oh, my dog's going crazy. We must have a delivery. We must have a delivery, because my boy is going crazy. So all I'm doing right now is adding texture. My dog is going crazy. He really does not like the UPS man or the FedEx man. Sorry about that. All right. I'm going to switch pencils. Go through and clean up my wings over here. Boom. We have to definitely put a sign up telling the delivery people not to ring our doorbell. So it drives our dog batty. Hi, Olivia. All right, so right now we're going to darken the values.
Sorry about that.
We got food delivered, so that's why our bell was rung. We're going to add values and clean up our lines here on the feet. This is going to be interesting.
You're gonna crocodile in the bathtub.
I was, but I changed my mind. Okay. Clean this up.
Sorry, it has to go in the fridge. I'll be quick.
So if you haven't gotten a food service like Green Chef, I highly recommend it, especially now during this COVID-19 crisis. They have these really awesome pre-made meal plans. And they're really good and very loud. So I highly recommend them. They're delicious. And because I'm a vegetarian, I get the vegetarian meals, and they're wonderful. Hello, Ruby. Good morning. So right now I'm just adding values and texture to the claws. I'm gonna go over here, do the same thing on this leg. Cleaning up lines. Go back over here. And we're gonna come up here, create this shadow line, going along the top, on the shins of our bird. We're gonna add shadow to the tops here, and highlights on the right-hand side. Again, shadows on the left, highlights on the right. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna go back to our skateboard here. Add shadows for the trucks. We're going to give it nice and dark grip tape. And I'm just doing a little bit darker than a middle value. Just a little bit darker than a middle value. If you're one of my students and you made a value chart, it would be, I'm looking for like a 6 or 7. And I'm gonna do a gradient from the bottom here and pull up. All right, now go through, clean up any stray marks, clean up edges. And we're gonna go over here to the tail feathers and kind of uniform it a little bit. It's a little sporadic right now. Pull some larger, there we go, that's better. There, that looks better. Get rid of this mark. Clean those up. So I'm adding pressure here, in these areas that I want really dark, and then just kind of pushing down and then releasing and pulling up so that I get a nice gradient as I'm going through. Okay? I'm leaving a little bit there. I'm gonna do the same thing over here on the wing feathers. I want them dark, and then I want them a little bit less dark. Go through. Darken the value here on the top, being shadowed by. These are going to be really dark. Okay. Hiya. is going to be dark over here, behind the bird, away from the light. And again, push hard down, pull up, and give that little hint. See? All right. I'm gonna come over here, work on these guys. Get a little darker down here. Yeah, there we go. Another one. Fill this out. Yeah, like that. Okay. Fill out some of the plumage in the back here. Okay. And we're going to give a little definition here. Yeah, and darken that. We're also going to give our terror bird a little bit more definition on a jawline here. Just a little bit, not too much. Just enough. And blend those together. Give them kind of I want to give them kind of a pronounced brow line too. So we're gonna darken some values and then pull up. And I'm turning my pencil and I'm using a close grip. Okay, see how I'm closer to the tip and put in a little bit more pressure. Give them more of a pronounced brow. And then I'm gonna go the other way and come this way. Kind of blend this all together. You guys see that? All right. Go through, clean my edges. Boom. My wife constantly warns me, you're overworking it, you're overworking it, you're overworking it. And sometimes I do that. I'll overwork and darken drawings to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, what did I do? What did I do? So we're getting to the point where we're almost done. I'm just adding some little hints of the hardware for our skateboard. I'm also going to put a little bit of shadow just to give a reference to how far, or like showing that the board is off the ground, if that makes any sense. Because I want to show that. I want to show the board's off the ground. All right, cool. I'm digging this drawing. I'm using a distant grip now and more the side of my pencil to darken the values further away from our light source, and I'm using a one direction kind of crosshatch, and then I'm going to go through, kind of go horizontal, and I'm also going to go at an angle. So I'm kind of cross-hatching here. I'm going to darken right here, See that? And kind of show my marks. And as you're building up your marks, a lot of times the marks themselves will help you describe the direction or volume. And so I'm doing that now. I'm curving my marks. You guys see that? And I'm going over and over and kind of filling these in and putting pressure. See that? All right. I'm also going to go through and put a little shadow underneath the bird, too, as well. I want my darker values between that make sense? How's that look so far? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm enjoying this one a lot. So if you are just joining us now, and you want to draw along, just click the link in my bio to the YouTube channel that I have, and you can watch this whole video from start to finish. Yesterday's video has yet to be uploaded because I haven't uploaded yet. I have to kind of stitch it together because I was kicked off 7 times from Instagram yesterday. I don't know what they were doing, if they were doing an update or what was happening yesterday, but it was extremely frustrating. I know I don't have 10,000 followers. I'm not one of those. I'm not an influencer either by any means, but I'm using this as a way to teach certain drawing techniques and using materials that you can more than likely find at home during this quarantine. So it was really frustrating yesterday, but that's what happens when you're still learning the technology. I'm not what you would call tech savvy. I am a Luddite. I just learned that word kind of recently, like 2 years ago. I'm a Luddite. Oh. All right. If you have any questions about my process or my setup or what I'm using material-wise, you can DM me. I will tell you this, I'm just using a General Pencil Co. Kimberly 4B pencil. These are like my go-to tools. Today I usually use a pink eraser from Office Depot, but today I'm using a high polymer eraser from Pentel. And a Snoopy hand sharpener. Those are my go-to tools, man. And I love them. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. I'm going to sign this like a rock star and be out of here. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. I might be changing the time that I do the live stream just because I have other teachers that I work with, colleagues of mine, who also do things with their students and their kids, and I don't want to necessarily conflict. So I've had some kids tell me that they really want to join, but they can't because they have these obligations for their classes. So I might be changing the time to 12 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. If you have any questions or concerns, DM me. Again, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay at home, and we'll get through this together. Bye-bye.